Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the brand new Dragonbane Bestiary. I pre-ordered this back in the summer. It just recently released from Free League, and I can't express how excited I am to have this in my possession. I've had the PDF since I did the pre-order back in, I want to say it was like August. Might have been late July, early to mid-August that I pre-ordered it, but I can't really do PDFs. It hurts my eyes to read them for too long. So I haven't looked too closely at this one here, but I love the Dragonbane role-playing game. I love the aesthetics. I love the sort of kind of the old school dangerous feel to it. Monsters are not something to be taken lightly in any regard in this kind of system. So I don't know, I just really like the Dragonbane role-playing game, and I'm excited to collect as much stuff for it as I can. There is also going to be a standalone rulebook, a core rulebook coming out if it's not out already, and that will be a reprint of the soft-covered rulebook that came in the box set here. The only difference is I think it has a different introductory chapter, and of course it's going to be a hardcover. I will likely be picking that up as well, so just not right away. But it is something that I definitely have bookmarked. But anyway, let's just go ahead and take a look here. I'm not going to necessarily flip through every single page, but I do want to show you the kinds of things that we have in this book. So we do have chapter 1, the Nightkin, which gives us different types of goblins, hobgoblins, ogres, and orcs. Then we got the Rarekin with cat people, centaurs, fairy, frog people, harpy, kraken, lizard people, mermaid, minotaur, naiad, satyr, swan maiden, and treekin. Insectoids, we have ant people, beetlekin, spiderkin, and then for trolls, we have cave troll, forest troll, mountain troll. For giants, we have forest giant, mountain giant, sea giant, and the titan. For beasts, we have the basilisk, the brook horse, the calydon, chimera, giant amoeba, giant octopus, giant spider, griffin, hippogriff, hydra, manticore, medusa, pegasus, roc, sea serpent, werewolf, and ward. For undead, we've got ghosts, ghouls, living dead, mummy, skeletons, vampire, wights, and will-o'-the-wisp. It's kind of cool that will-o'-wisp are classified as undead in this game. I don't think they are in at least 3rd edition D&D and beyond. I think they were aberrations in that, but don't quote me 100% on that. And then we got the two ones here. So these last 3 chapters are the ones that I was the most interested in. The undead, dragons, and demons. So for the dragons, you get hatchling dragons, young dragons, adult, ancient dragons, and then the lindworm. And then for demons, you get a blood demon, chaos demon, fire demon, golem, guardian demon, and shadow demon. So the core rule set that came out in the box set there had a pretty decent assortment of creatures, and it was definitely enough to get some games together, but it wasn't a huge variety of things. So it's really cool to see that we actually have, for example, I don't think vampires were in the core set at all. So it's kind of cool to have that, and of course the different age categories of dragons. I just, again, really like this here. You've got the playable kin with their abilities in here as well. It also adds to it and expands upon it, which is kind of neat. So again, for the Nightkin, and I love the presentation in these books. I think they do an excellent job with it here. So for goblins, I got a scout and a warrior. So with these types of creatures here, they function a lot like player characters. So they would roll attack rolls and stuff like that. Same for the hobgoblins. And again, I just really love the artwork in this RPG. Scout, fighter, and hobgoblin thief, which is really cool. Then we've got the ogre. We got an ogre fighter and an ogre chieftain. So I guess I should go over the stat blocks just a little bit here, but I kind of want to wait for one of the bigger monsters, but I guess I'll do one here. So we'll take a look at the ogre fighter here. So the ogre fighter has a movement of 10, and this system, I think everything's in meters, because this is a European role-playing game. They get a damage bonus on strength attacks of plus 1d6, so whatever weapon that they're using, they get to add 1d6 to that damage roll. A regular ogre has 16 hit points. typically wears leather armor. So armor does have an armor rating, which does absorb a certain amount of damage. So that would be taken off of the different attacks. And then they've got their skills that they roll. They have awareness, brawling, and evade, and then their weapons are large wooden clubs. They have a skill level of 10 and roll damage of 2d8 plus the 1d6. So that's kind of how you read those particular stat blocks. And of course, you would have to look up the weapon or the armor if you needed other specific information from it. Then we got our orcs here. We got the warrior, the shaman, and again, we've got the chieftain. And I do love like a good orc warband, so having like a shaman and chieftain statted out is really great for me, because I might actually, if I do my own Dragonbane role-playing game sessions that I run, I might actually have an orc warband be like the main concern there. So again, with these other kin type, we do have sort of some of the standard ones that are more humanoid, and they just have like regular weapon attacks like player characters. So like the cat people, for example, they might use a short spear or a short bow. But then we get the actual like monsters here. And what's interesting about monsters is that they function very differently than your things like goblins, or even the way that player characters tend to. So first of all, we have their ferocity. The ferocity dictates the number of actions they get in a combat round. So the Dragonbane role-playing game uses cards to draw your initiative number, typically 1 through 10. And with the centaur, they get a ferocity of 2. So while the player characters, for example, each draw a single card, the centaur would draw 2. So you would get 2 sets of actions each round in combat. And they got their movement of 20, no armor rating here, and 28 hit points. They have a special ability called alcohol tolerance. So centaurs can drink copious amounts of wine and beer without getting particularly drunk. And then their typical gear: short spear, longbow, quiver of arrows. And then we've got the monster attack. So this is what separates them from sort of like your standard things like goblins and orcs and things like that. So these attacks typically don't actually require an attack roll. Like each round on their action, you roll the d6, and that determines which attack they do for that round. You could also choose the option as well if you wish. I kind of like a little bit of randomness depending on the situation or the perceived intelligence level of the creature. Like more intelligent monsters, I might have them pick and choose their tactics. But the main thing is that they can't use the same attack twice in a row. So they would have to do something different. Like you couldn't just do quick shot and then on the next action they get in the same round do quick shot again. You would have to do something else. But these attacks, they don't roll to hit. They just happen. And the players have the option, essentially, if they haven't gone yet in combat and they get hit with one of these monster attacks, they can choose to forego their major action in the round, or forego their action, and do instead just dodge the attack. So dodging the attack might reduce the damage that they take. They may take none of it. Depending on the situation, they may find themselves prone, or they simply are moved to a different part on the map. But it's something that you kind of have to pick and choose. Now, for something like the centaur, you may not necessarily want to go forego your turn in a round to be able to dodge one of its attack. But if you've got a dragon barreling down towards you and he's got his mouth open like he's going to breathe some fire, you might want to wait until he does that before you do anything. So you can tap your card, sacrifice your action that turn, but still get to dodge the attack. So anyway, that's sort of how the monster stuff works. And some of these attacks are, again, are pretty nasty. Like, for example, the spear thrust. The creature thrusts its short spear at an opponent, inflicting 2d10 piercing damage. The attack can be parried, so parrying is another thing that you can do as well. But not very many monster attacks allow you to do that. So most monster attacks you can dodge but can't parry, with the few exceptions. And most of the exceptions, I think, are going to be based around weapon ones. But with parry, the screen says here, both melee and range attacks can be parried, but the latter requires a shield. Parrying is a reaction that takes place outside of your turn and replaces your regular action in the round. So if you have a shield, you might be able to block the attack using your reaction. But again, most of these you have to actually have to dodge. And we'll take a look at some of these attacks a little bit later on. But we're just going to kind of flip through here. We got the frog people, the harpies, the Karkion. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Flying cat people. It's interesting. Then we got the lizard people. I actually like that they have them kind of like climbing a tree using their tail because, you know, lizards have drippy tails, or some of them do at least. So that's kind of cool. Then we got the mermaid. And then the Minotaur. I love this guy. So, yeah, again, 16 movement, 2 ferocity, 32 hit points. What's one of his worst attacks there? Stomping attack. The Minotaur jumps high in the air and comes crashing down on an adventurer who suffers 2d10 bludgeoning damage and is knocked down unless you dodge. So, again, like monster attacks are no joke in this system. And as a DM who tends to roll crap or rolls crap on more often than not, I kind of like the idea of just, you know, being able to do the attacks and letting the players kind of risk reward. Do they attack that round or do they wait and, you know, potentially sacrifice their action if they need to try to keep themselves alive? Then we got the Swan Maiden, the Treekin. Looks very close to the Ents from Lord of the Rings. The Insectoids. So there's your ant people. And they have an armor rating of 2. So anytime they get hit with an attack, a physical attack, they take 2 off of it. So that's pretty cool. And we got the Beetlekin. And the Spiderkin. Not as big a fan of those guys. Then we got our trolls. Cave troll. And the cave troll is sensitive to sunlight. When in direct sunlight, cave trolls suffer d6 damage per round and cannot regenerate. A troll that reaches 0 because of this is turned to stone. Dense foliage, a thick layer of clouds, or full cover clothing are enough to avoid the effect. So that's kind of cool. Then we got the forest troll. They're also sensitive to sunlight. So is the mountain troll. So they all kind of have that ability there. Then we got the giants. So there's the forest giant. Again, I love the artwork in these. There's the mountain giant, the sea giant, and I think we got a Titans coming up next. I mean, again, I love it. I think there's some fantastic stuff in here. Let's see. Battering ram, 2d10 bludgeoning damage. Again, I just love the attacks these things get to do. Then we got the basilisk. So the basilisk is kind of interesting in this game, simply because like I'm used to seeing this as a cockatrice from like D&D and other role-playing games that I'm more familiar with, but it's kind of cool just to see, I mean, because the basilisk and the cockatrice both have like the same ability to turn people to stone if you kind of meet their gaze. So it's just, I don't know, I kind of, you know, it's just a different take on it, I guess. And, you know, maybe it's more true to the European lore of it, and I'm just used to the more like Western, I guess, you know, D&D interpretation of certain things. We got the brook horse. We got the... Oh, okay. So they're basically like giant warthogs. So that's pretty cool. Then we got the chimera. So lion, goat, and snake. This doesn't have like the dragon's breath weapon like in D&D, but still a really cool looking monster. The giant amoeba. Gotta love it. Giant octopus. Kind of menacing looking there. Giant spider. We're just going to flip on right past that one. Then we got the griffin. P-tier griffin. The hippogriff. Razor sharp beak. The hydra. Many-headed. So a typical hydra has a D3 plus 1 heads. Each head has 10 hit points. To slay the monster, all of these must be severed or crushed. However, for each defeated head, 2 new ones grow out of the next dump at the start of the next round, unless the wound is burned with fire before then. For example, with a torch, counts as an attack with a club. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. Or a spell. The player characters can realize this with a successful beast lore roll. And they get ferocity. They get 1 action per head. So typically, it's a D3 plus 1. So if you roll 4, they'd be drawing 4 action cards. 4 initiative cards each round, or in combat, I should say, not each round, but 4 actions they get to do each round. They have an armor rating of 3, and again, their body Doesn't even bother with hit points for that. It's just the head. So really, really cool stuff there. Absolutely love it. They get a poison spit ability, rending claws, tail attack, crushing slam, and toxic breath. Then we got the Manticore, and I really love that Manticore art as well. For the most part, I've liked a lot of the Manticore arts that I've seen in different RPGs. The only one I didn't really care for that much was like 3rd edition D&D. I didn't really like the Manticore in that one. And then we got the Medusa, the Pegasus, the Rock, not that rock, and then the Sea Serpent. So again, it's just some really great staple creatures here. Then you got the Werewolf. I should also mention that these entries also include adventure seeds. I didn't even realize that until just now. So you actually have some information on creating either an encounter, just a single encounter, or like an actual adventure around each monster. So it gives you, in addition to some of like their background information, it just gives you some useful stuff that you can help with designing your games. We got our Undead. Of course, we got the Ghost. The Living Dead, so these are basically like zombies. They do have diseased bite, undead embrace, overwhelming hunger. We got mummies. The skeleton. Again, the artwork in this is just awesome. And there's the vampire. So it's interesting that the vampire doesn't necessarily look like, you know, your typical like Strahd type of vampire. Like these just look monstrous. And then, of course, the whites. I guess they don't have, like, life-draining attacks, but they do have some crippling cold, power attack. Takes half damage from non-magical weapons, except fire, which inflicts normal damage. That's cool. Then we got the Will-o'-the-Wisp. And again, you got the adventure seed here. So let's read the adventure seed for the Will-o'-the-Wisp. Just, again, it gives you an idea, things you can use to create a game around if you want to. So merchants and their wares have mysteriously disappeared on the trade road between 2 major villages. A few survivors tell of strange dancing lights promising riches beyond imagining. But remember little else. Investigations can reveal that these are Will-o'-the-Wisps, probably created from one of the fortune-hunting groups that recently perished in a rune-strewn wetland. But which of the 3 failed expeditions is it? And where in the vast swamp are the corpses? The player characters must find the place where the vilest members of the expedition died and give their bodies a dignified burial. So again, just some really cool stuff here. And then we got the dragons. So we got the dragon hatchling. You know, you love the artwork there. You just look so adorable. Then we got the young dragon. The adult dragon. And then we've got the ancient dragon, which is like just this, like the size of almost like a mountain. Just really, really cool stuff. You got like the adventuring party, you know, trying to make their way up this like snowy mountain. And there's the dragon there. So really, really cool stuff. And then we got the lindworm. And then we have demons. Again, awesome artwork. I love this. So we have the blood demon, which looks like Man-Bat. The chaos demon. The fire demon. The golem. The guardian demon. And that might be it. Oh, no, wait. And the shadow demon. And it reminds me of the old D&D animated series from the 80s that had a shadow demon. They get anxiety attack, psychic bite, dark embrace. Awesome stuff. And there's the index at the back. You got a little dragon buddy there. And yeah, that's the contents of the Dragonbane Bestiary. And yeah, I mean, look, I love the Dragonbane role-playing game. I think it's a great system. Again, I love the aesthetic to it, the feel to it, the sort of like grittier, darker, more like life-threatening fantasy for the player characters. And if you're going to be picking up the Dragonbane rules, like the box set here, or if you do get the standalone core rulebook, I mean, this is something that is just going to be a worthwhile investment if you really want to get into to running Dragonbane. And I think this is a fantastic book. So yeah, there we go. If you're gonna run Dragonbane, if you're gonna especially if you're gonna homebrew stuff, then I cannot recommend this book enough. I mean, effectively, it's, the Bestiary is kind of a core rule book in of itself. And again, I love the art style. I love the creatures that are included in here. The fact that they have adventure ideas for the creatures in here as well gives you something where you can just sort of pick up the book, open up to a monster you think is interesting, and if you want to use that exact adventure idea, you can. If not, you can sort of formulate your own based off of that for inspiration. I just think this is a great book, and again, I love the system. And if you're going to run Dragonbane, I think this is going to be a very worthwhile addition to your collection. I know it's one that I'm really happy to have, and it's really got me wanting to run this system. So I'm hoping to set something up in the early to late spring this year and get a game of this going, because I can't wait to start running this. Anyway, let me know in the comments below. Have any of you picked up the Dragonbane core rule set? Have you ordered the Dragonbane core rulebook, the standalone hardcover rulebook, or did you pick up the Bestiary? And if so, have you had it in your possession yet? Have you been able to use it in your home games? What creature from this book are you the most interested in trying to design adventures around? For me, it's going to be either like some of the Undead or just a good old-fashioned dragon slaying adventure. I think would be a lot of fun to do. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.